All right, good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Listen, I want to read one proverb for you guys. I have something to say about this. It's very interesting. But I did a video about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and this ties in with this whole concept of living a life of righteousness and letting that be something that the Lord uses, okay? And if you remember that video, I was talking about Mary, the sister of Lazarus, and how she broke the expensive perfumes onto Jesus to prepare him for his death. And Jesus said, hey, as long as she lives, or as long, not even as long as she lives, as long as the gospel is told, people are going to mention her for doing this as a memorial to her. Now listen to this. Proverbs 10, verse 7. This goes right along with this, and this is something to consider. It says this: the memory of the righteous is blessed, but the name of the wicked will, notice this, rot. Okay? And when it says the name here, it's talking about literally what you leave, what people remember about you when you leave this earth. And in this proverb, he's basically saying that the heritage that's left behind, the legacy, if you would, however you want to call this, it is based on how you live. Righteousness versus wickedness. The Lord sees our lives. I'm going to tell you something. Maybe my attitude's bad about this, but this is my opinion. We're told to run the race to win, right? Run the race to win. My goal is to get to the finish line, okay? To walk in obedience to the Lord, to basically listen to him and to follow him as he leads me day by day. That's my goal. Once I'm dead, I don't care if a single human being remembers me after that point. But if they do remember me, if somebody says, oh, you remember that guy, Dale Quimby? You know what I want them to think of is somebody that walked in righteousness. That is, I'm telling you right now, that is a bigger accomplishment than most of the things people are doing these days. Okay? And the more and more that I live, the rarer I find it is that somebody just walks in righteousness throughout the course of their life. That is not normal. Okay? It should be. It should be totally normal. It should be something that happens all the time, but it's not. And look, if you're ever at a funeral, or if you hear people talking about old Uncle Ned and they say, man, he was a faithful guy. He walked with the Lord. He honored God his whole life. That is a massive, massive accomplishment. That's not something that, look, I can write a book. I can lock myself up at home for a month and write a book. I can, write music. I can do some artwork. I can, all of these things, right? I can do all of that. And that I'm not undermining any of that stuff, okay? I don't want to say like there's no value in it, because that's not true at all, right? The Lord gifts us, and he wants us to use the gifts that we have. Some of these are just natural abilities to do certain things. Some of this is, supernaturally empowered, or there's a mix of, okay, I have this natural ability and the spiritual drive to glorify God with it. I'm not undermining that. But what I'm saying is, if I spend a month in my house working on a drawing, working on a painting, and at the end I have this spectacular painting, that's great. But I still need to live the rest of my life in righteousness, right? I can do that. I can make a masterpiece like that. And still, the day after it's done, you know, go off the deep end. Think about this happened, over and over. This actually happened in the scripture. We have examples of this, but one of them I can think of is Gideon. God uses Gideon powerfully to deliver the nation of Israel. And then he has this ephod and everybody gets weird. And, you see these situations where you think, man alive, why? But honestly, I wonder, like I know myself, I haven't walked a perfect walk with the Lord over the course of my life. I'm sure there are angels watching my life and they're just thinking, what the heck is wrong with that dude, right? Why? But look, we need to get away from that. We need to actually look at that and say, okay, the finish line, wherever it is, it's down there, right? It's in the future. I need to get from here to there intact. I want to walk that line, a life of righteousness, get from here to there. And that alone is a massive accomplishment. And then everything beyond that, all of those other things, those are things that God is going to do through your life. But honestly, this is a massive, massive thing. We shouldn't underscore it. And I'm just going to say this because I think it needs to be said. A lot of times, people are focusing more on those things that they're trying to accomplish. Then they're more focused on that and less focused on getting to the finish line. And they get it mixed up. And they put themselves in a dangerous place. Look at the number of pastors these days that are basically falling out because they're getting caught up in affairs or, some sort of perversion or something, This is happening all of the time. It's like, okay, you were in the ministry, but you weren't living righteously. And think about that. All of that's gone now. Like, again, he says here, the name of the wicked will rot, right? People that pursue wickedness, that's just like, it's like pouring acid on something, it breaks it down and it disintegrates those things. I'm just saying this because I think it needs to be said. I'm just saying it because I've been thinking about it. I've been mulling this over for my own reasons. I've been considering this stuff personally. And look, man, I'm giving all of that stuff to the Lord. I want to get to the finish line. I want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. At that point, whatever, I'm going to be in heaven. I'm not going to care, right? The Lord, he's got a plan. He has a purpose. He's doing what he's doing in this world, right? However my life fits into that, great. That's just wonderful. I'm trusting him with all of that stuff. And, the focus here is, Lord, I'm keep moving in the direction that you've pointed me in. I want to walk the path of righteousness, as Proverbs said, and not go off into the deep end. So anyways, I know it's an interesting thing to talk about. Probably weren't expecting this, but it's something to think about, because we need to keep our priorities straight. I think a lot of times people go off because they're looking at the wrong finish line. You know, they're looking at the wrong race. They're they should be going here, but they're going that way. So something to consider, something important to consider. So I would recommend you take some time. You know, I'm sure you know already if I'm saying these things and it's shocking to you or jarring, um, those are things where you need to go to the Lord and say, okay, Lord, do I need to refocus here? Or, you know, go to him and say, okay, Lord, I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you to do whatever you want to do and to um, be glorified in my life, however you choose to. Anyways, these are all interesting things to consider. I think they're super important. And I hope that this is a great reminder for you. I hope this is something that gets you to think and refocus. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was good, challenging stuff, you know? So anyways, may the Lord richly bless you. Leave me a comment and also take a split second to like and subscribe this video. And I'll see you again tomorrow. May the Lord richly bless you.